I think it's pretty safe to say that by far the driving force for the hype of Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker has all to do with the return of the iconic legacy characters such as Luke, Leia, Lando Calrissian, and even Han Solo in different ways, as well as what the sequel trilogy characters are going to do with each other such as Rey and Kylo Ren, and what the interactions of those characters are going to look like on the big screen, and how they interact with the legacy characters as well. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, one aspect of Episode 9 that a lot of fans are very curious about is, of course, Ben Solo / Kylo Ren, and exactly how J.J. Abrams is going to handle his character in this film in comparison to how he handled him in The Force Awakens, and how that's really going to resonate with fans around the world. Now, on top of all of this, these past couple of weeks or so, we've been learning a whole lot more about this film, and when it all comes down to one of the concept art descriptions, this is where things begin to get very exciting for Episode 9. Now, specifically, what's really intriguing about all of this is that shot descriptions consisting of a sequence where it's explained that both Ben Solo and Luke Skywalker are said to be seen in front of his Jedi training temple, as seen in The Last Jedi, where a younger version of Luke Skywalker is said to be sitting on a floating boulder and teaching Ben Solo a lesson about the Jedi and the Force. It's explained to be a sequence in which Luke Skywalker is developing Ben Solo's lightsaber, where the pieces of Ben Solo's saber can be seen floating around Luke, where a blue glowing kyber crystal can be seen in front of Ben's face. It's explained that while Luke does this, he tells Ben to close his eyes and to focus where Luke now gives the rest of his training to Ben Solo, where he begins to piece the saber hilt together into one, where Ben is actually able to eventually place the kyber crystal inside of the hilt. Now, it's explained that this flashback scene sets up the training between Luke and Kylo Ren, and that what their lives were like before Ben Solo turned to the dark side by Supreme Leader Snoke. Now, the scene is said to be using de-aging technology for actor Mark Hamill, where he does not have a beard in this particular moment, and is said to have shot many takes with Adam Driver to get the scene down correctly. Now, let's go over a couple of parts about this, because we do know that The Rise of Skywalker is going to be a movie that's going to explore different flashbacks here and there surrounding the characters of Leia, Luke, Kylo Ren, you name it. Now, some fans out there disagree with the use of flashbacks, and I totally understand that. I do get that, the fact that flashbacks aren't for everybody, and how fans were, rather disappointed with how they were used in The Last Jedi. So, in my point of view, I like the flashbacks as long as it really does support the overall story of Episode 9. In this case, it really is setting up the story between both Luke and Kylo Ren / Ben Solo, and really what it was like before he turned to the dark side, right? And this also alludes to what Rian Johnson, kind of had Luke Skywalker say in The Last Jedi, where Luke says, I noticed it during his training. He mentioned his training, and we never got to see any of that, which now J.J. Abrams will be exploring in Episode 9. So this is said to be a moment in which Kylo Ren is literally piecing the saber hilt together into one piece. Luke Skywalker is doing it at first for Kylo Ren, to the point where, Ben Solo takes over the role to actually put the pieces of his saber into one actual piece, where it's all put together into one piece now and is able to be ignited. Now, what I like about that is that this kind of Jedi training is something that we always saw and heard of in Star Wars Legends in the 1990s and in the early 2000s. I don't know if you guys are aware about this, but during that time, we had a lot of characters like Luke Skywalker himself even, training through the ways of the Force to do it just like that, where pieces of the Skywalker saber hilt are floating in mid-air. Now, what I like about this, though, is that there is, of course, a moment in Episode 9 here in which we do get to see more shots related to Luke Skywalker's Jedi training temple. Now, the temple itself, we know little to nothing about his temple, exactly how it was built or who built it, and exactly, what Luke Skywalker's new generation of Jedi really look like, besides Ben Solo, right? Now, we do know one thing here is that Mark Hamill actually used de-aging technology in this scene in order to make him appear far less younger than ever before, which really is a big deal by Disney and Lucasfilm. You can see that they're trying to explore, flashbacks for Luke in a different way than what they did for The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. In The Last Jedi, yes, he was younger, but not that much younger, and that's exactly what they want to change in Episode 9. They want to show us exactly what Luke's life really was like when he just took Ben Solo in to begin his training to become a Jedi Knight. And I think that's a story that a lot of fans are very intrigued and invested in, and are just wanting to learn more about. In fact, the upcoming comics surrounding Kylo Ren this year, we will be learning more about the adventures of Luke and Ben Solo taking on the Knights of Ren. I don't know if you guys saw that comic book cover, but it looks amazing. It looks very promising, and it gives you a little sense of what J.J. Abrams is going to explore in Episode 9 in order to wrap up the entire Skywalker saga. Anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.